My brother broke my knee with a metal rod because I exposed his secret wife. My mother stood 6 feet away in the garage, watched me hit the concrete, and laughed. Not a nervous laugh, not shock. A real laugh, sharp and small, like she thought pain was finally teaching me manners. Then she stepped over me, took the rod from Ryan's hand, and said, "Maybe now you'll learn to stop ruining your brother's life." By the time the ambulance arrived, she had already told the first neighbor that I slipped. By the time the police came, she had told them I was emotional, dramatic, and trying to destroy Ryan's engagement because I couldn't stand seeing my brother happy. What she did not know was that I worked in medical records. I knew what a fall looked like on an X-ray. I knew what blunt force trauma looked like in an emergency room note. I knew how timestamps worked, how a nurse's first impression could matter, how a recorded statement could turn a family lie into evidence. And I knew that my mother's laugh had been caught clearly on the garage camera. My name is Grace Holloway. I am 32 years old, and for most of my life, I was known in my family as the difficult one. Not because I stole anything, not because I hurt anyone, not because I burned down opportunities or drained my parents' savings or came home with excuses every time I broke something. That was Ryan. Ryan was my older brother, 36, handsome in that easy small-town way that made people forgive him before he even apologized. He had our father's smile, our mother's favorite stories, and a talent for making his own failures sound like weather. Bad luck, bad timing, bad partners, bad economy. I was the younger daughter who asked where the money went. In our house, that made me dramatic. Ryan could dent my mother's car, and somehow I had provoked him by reminding him he should not drive after drinking. Ryan could borrow from my college savings, and my mother would say he had a real opportunity, and family helped family. Ryan could drop out of community college, open a home repair business with no bookkeeping system, and call himself an entrepreneur. I became a medical records coordinator at Boone County Regional, paid my bills on time, kept a small apartment 15 minutes from the hospital, and somehow that made me cold. My mother, Linda Holloway, had a sentence she used like a house key. Ryan has a big heart. You just know how to push him. She said it when he punched a hole in the laundry room door at 22. She said it when he missed our father's memorial dinner because he was in Kansas City with friends and came home saying he forgot the date. She said it when he screamed at a contractor in our driveway until the man quit the job halfway through replacing the porch steps. She said it so often that for years I wondered if maybe I really did push people. Maybe my need for receipts and dates and exact words made me hard to love. Maybe asking for truth instead of accepting a family version of it was a character flaw. Then I found the marriage certificate. It was 2 weeks before Ryan's engagement party. He was supposed to marry Brielle Carter, the daughter of the Carter family that owned half the commercial property in our county. Brielle was kind, polished, and raised by people who used words like legacy and partnership when they meant money. Her father had already agreed to invest in Ryan's business after the wedding, and my mother had been walking around like she personally invented success. The party was going to be at my mother's house, which meant she needed everyone to pretend we were the kind of family that deserved matching linen napkins. I had taken a Friday off work to help her clean the garage, because apparently Ryan's old toolboxes and tax papers could not stay where guests might see them. "You know how to organize things," Mom said when she called me. "It would be nice if you helped your brother for once instead of judging him." That was how she asked for favors. I went anyway. The garage smelled like motor oil, cardboard, sawdust, and the sweet chemical odor of paint cans that had been opened years ago and never sealed right. Ryan's business paperwork sat in plastic bins against the back wall, mixed with Christmas decorations, old baseball gloves, and a broken shop fan he swore he was going to fix. I was sorting invoices from roofing estimates when I found a brown envelope wedged between an insurance file and a stack of receipts from a hardware store in Texas. I almost tossed it into the business pile. Then I saw the seal. El Paso County Clerk. I opened it because my name was on one of the old family files inside the same box, and because after years in medical records, I had learned that misfiled documents usually meant something. Sometimes nothing serious. Sometimes everything. Inside was a certified marriage certificate. Ryan Matthew Holloway. Marisol Elena Vega. Date filed 2 years earlier. For a few seconds, I simply stared at it. My brain tried to make the information harmless. Maybe there had been a divorce. Maybe it was annulled. Maybe this was some mistake from a job he did in Texas. Maybe there was another Ryan Matthew Holloway with the same birth date and the same mother's maiden name listed beneath his signature. There was not. I took a picture of the certificate. Then I took pictures of the surrounding documents because context matters. An old lease agreement in both their names. An auto insurance form listing Marisol as spouse. A small strip of photo booth pictures from what looked like a courthouse lobby. Ryan grinning, Marisol holding a bouquet of grocery store flowers. Then I did what my job had taught me to do. I did not run into the kitchen screaming. I verified. From my car, I searched the public court database. No divorce record in El Paso County. No divorce record in Missouri. No dissolution under Ryan's name that I could find. I paid $9 for a certified search request and sent it before I let myself breathe too deeply. My hands were cold on the steering wheel. Brielle had just posted a picture of her engagement ring that morning. "Can't wait to become Mrs. Holloway," she had written. Ryan had commented with 3 red hearts. I sat in my car looking at the screen and thought, she deserves to know. Not because I hated Ryan. Not because I wanted to humiliate him. Not because I was jealous of his engagement, which was what my mother would tell everyone later. Because if I were about to marry a man who was already married, I would want someone to risk being hated enough to tell me. I sent Brielle a message that night. It was short, careful, and private. "Brielle, I need to tell you something before the engagement party. I found a certified marriage record for Ryan and a woman named Marisol Vega from El Paso. I have not found a divorce record. I am not trying to hurt you. Please ask him for a divorce decree before moving forward. I can send you what I found." She read it within 10 minutes. She did not answer for nearly an hour. When she did, all she wrote was, "Are you sure?" I sent the certificate. Then I sent the lease. Then I sent the insurance form. Her next message was, "I am going to ask him. Please don't tell anyone else yet." I promised I would not. That promise lasted 18 hours. Ryan broke it for me. The next evening, I went back to my mother's house to return the file box. I should have mailed it. I know that now. But part of me still believed in the old rule that if you did everything calmly enough, with enough proof, people might choose reason over rage. Mom was in the kitchen slicing strawberries for the party. She barely looked up when I came in. "Your brother is furious with you," she said. My stomach tightened. "So he told you? He told me you are spreading lies to ruin his future." I set the file box on the table. I found a marriage certificate. She turned then. Her face did not look surprised. That was the first thing I noticed. Not angry, not shocked, not confused, annoyed. As if I had opened a closet she had hoped nobody would check before company came over. "That was complicated," she said. "Is he divorced?" "Grace, is he divorced?" She wiped her hands on a towel slowly, like I was a child asking an embarrassing question in public. "You don't understand adult relationships," I almost laughed. "I'm 32. And unmarried," she snapped. "Maybe because you always think love is a courtroom." The garage door opened before I could answer. Ryan came in through the mudroom wearing work boots, jeans, and the gray company shirt, with Holloway Home Solutions embroidered over his chest. His face was red, but his voice was quiet when he spoke. That was how I knew it was worse than anger. "You texted Brielle." I stepped back once, not because I planned to run, but because my body understood something before my pride did. She has a right to know. "You had no right to touch my private papers. They were in Mom's garage, in a box she asked me to organize." He moved closer. Mom said, "Ryan, not in the kitchen. Not stop. Not calm down. Not don't threaten your sister. not in the kitchen. He pointed toward the garage. Get out there. I should have walked out the front door. Instead, I followed him into the garage because I still believed witnesses mattered. My mother came behind us, wiping her hands with the towel. The overhead light buzzed. The floor was cluttered with boxes we had been sorting. On the workbench, beside a broken level and a stack of sandpaper, was a short metal rod Ryan used for levering old boards apart during demolition jobs. He grabbed it not as a weapon at first, but as a pointer. That is what I told the officer later. He grabbed it like he needed something in his hand to make himself feel bigger. You think you're better than me because you work in a hospital and push paper, he said. No. I think Brielle should know you might still be married. Might. Show me the divorce decree and I'll apologize. His jaw tightened. Mom said, Grace, why do you always have to provoke him? That sentence landed harder than I expected. Maybe because it was so familiar. Maybe because for one clear second, I saw my entire childhood lined up behind it. Broken things, missing money, Ryan yelling, Mom translating his anger into my responsibility. I'm not provoking him, I said. I'm asking for a document. Ryan took one step forward. You don't know what Marisol did. Then tell Brielle. Shut up. No. It happened fast after that. He swung low. I saw the motion before I understood the target. The metal rod hit the outside of my right knee with a sound I still hear sometimes in dreams. Not loud exactly, but final. My leg folded under me. Pain flashed white from my knee to my hip, so bright and immediate that I could not speak for a second. I hit the concrete on my side. The garage spun. Somewhere above me, my mother laughed. It was not long. It was not loud. That almost made it worse. A small laugh, like I had finally gotten what I deserved. Maybe now you'll learn to stop ruining your brother's life, she said. Ryan stood there breathing hard, metal rod still in his hand. For 1 second, he looked shocked by what he had done. Then Mom took the rod from him and moved toward the workbench. That was not shock. That was cleanup. I found my voice then. I screamed, not for drama, not for attention. Because a bone-deep injury does not care what your family thinks about your personality. The neighbor on the left, Mrs. Palmer, called 911. I learned that later. My mother crouched near me, but not close enough to touch. Tell them you slipped, she hissed. I stared at her. My knee was already swelling under my jeans. I could feel heat spreading through the joint. I could feel my pulse in places where a pulse should not be. He hit me, I said. Ryan threw the rod onto the workbench. I barely touched you. Mom snapped. Both of you stop. Both of you. I was on the floor. He was standing. Both of you. That was the moment something in me became very still. Pain can make the world narrow, but sometimes it also makes the truth sharp. My family was not going to help me, so I started helping myself. I pulled my phone from my back pocket with shaking fingers. Ryan saw and moved toward me. Don't, I said. There must have been something in my voice, because he stopped. I opened the voice memo app and hit record. Not because I had a plan, because records had saved people in my hospital more than once when memory got bullied. Mom noticed. Grace, put that away. You're embarrassing yourself. Say again what happened, I said. You fell. How? She glared at me. You were waving your arms around like always, and you tripped over that box. I looked at Ryan. Is that what happened? He said nothing. Sirens sounded in the distance. Mom stood, smoothed her blouse, and became the version of herself neighbors recognized. Worried mother, tired peacekeeper, woman burdened by an unstable daughter and a passionate son. By the time the paramedics arrived, she was crying. That is another thing people misunderstand about liars. Some of them can cry on command, but not because they feel guilty. They cry because the story requires moisture. The paramedic kneeling beside me was named Aaron. I remember because his name badge swung near my face while he cut the leg of my jeans. He asked what happened. Before I could answer, Mom said, She fell in the garage. She was upset. I caught Aaron's wrist. I was struck, I said. Metal rod, lateral right knee, my brother. The garage went silent. Aaron looked at me, then at Ryan, then at the workbench. Okay, he said carefully. We'll document that. Those 3 words were the first kindness of the night. We'll document that. Not I believe you, not I don't. Just the most powerful neutral sentence in the world when your family is trying to drown truth in personality. At the ER, the pain became less dramatic but more consuming. It settled in my bones. It made fluorescent lights feel too bright and voices too far away. A nurse named Keisha asked me again what happened while my mother tried to hover near the curtain. I need to ask her alone, Keisha said. Mom smiled tightly. I'm her mother. And she is my patient. I almost cried then. Not from pain, from being separated from my family's version of the room. Keisha waited until Mom stepped outside. Did you fall, or were you hit? I was hit. With what? A metal rod. Who hit you? My brother, Ryan Holloway. Did anyone witness it? I closed my eyes. My mother. She laughed. Keisha did not react the way people at church reacted to ugly family statements. She did not gasp. She did not say surely not. She typed, Any cameras? I opened my eyes. The garage camera. For a second, I forgot the pain. My mother had installed a side garage camera the previous winter after someone stole a package from her porch. Ryan had complained about it because he hated being recorded while borrowing tools. The camera pointed toward the driveway and part of the garage whenever the side door was open. It might not have shown the strike, but it might have captured the sound. Mom's laugh, Ryan's threat, her telling me to say I slipped. Keisha saw my expression change. Remember something? There may be camera audio. Tell the officer. Officer Mills came after the x-ray. By then, I knew the preliminary damage. Fracture near the tibial plateau. Possible ligament injury. Orthopedic consult. Brace. Maybe surgery. Definitely weeks off work. I had spent years filing other people's pain into clean digital categories. Discharge summary, imaging report, operative note, follow-up plan. I had never understood how strange it felt when your own body became a chart. Officer Mills was in his 40s, calm, with a face that looked like it had learned not to show surprise too early. He asked questions. I answered them. Then my mother came in without knocking. Grace is confused, she said. She was very upset. Officer Mills turned. Ma'am, I'll speak with you separately. I just don't want my son accused because Grace is angry. I looked at her from the bed. My knee was wrapped. My leg was immobilized. I had dried tears on my face and an IV in my hand. She was still protecting him. Not from a lie, from the truth. Mom, I said, you laughed. Her eyes flicked to mine. For the first time that night, she looked afraid. Not guilty. Afraid. Because she did not know what I knew about the camera yet. After she left, Officer Mills asked, Is there any recording? Maybe, I said. Garage camera. My mother has the app. My brother may have access. Please preserve it before they delete it. He wrote that down. Then he asked about motive. So I told him about Marisol. The story did not become simpler after that. Real stories rarely do. By morning, my phone was full. 23 missed calls from Mom. 6 from Ryan. 3 from numbers I did not know. A message from Brielle. Grace, are you okay? Ryan said you fell. My parents are asking what is happening. Please answer. A message from Marisol Vega, sent through social media at 3:14 a.m. Brielle contacted me. Are you Ryan's sister? We need to talk. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I answered. Yes. He hurt me after I found your marriage certificate. Are you divorced? Her reply came fast. No. One word. No explanation yet. No defense. No performance. No. I forwarded it to myself, saved screenshots, and wrote down the timestamp because my body was broken, but my habits were intact. Nina Patel came to the hospital that afternoon. She was not my attorney yet. She was a patient rights lawyer I knew through the hospital. A woman who had once helped a domestic violence survivor get her records corrected after a husband tried to write the entire injury off as a kitchen accident. I called her because I needed someone who understood that paperwork could be a shield before it became a weapon. She walked into my room carrying a legal pad, a black folder, and the expression of a person who had already decided not to waste my time with pity. "Tell me what you need," she said. I almost laughed, which hurt. I need my mother to stop telling people I fell. Then we start by making the fall impossible. She asked for the medical timeline. I gave it. She asked for names. I gave them. She asked whether Ryan had threatened me before. I showed her the text from 3 weeks earlier. "Stay out of my life or I'll make you regret it." She nodded once. "Good." "Good?" "Useful," she corrected. "Not good. Useful." That became the word that carried me through the next 10 days. Useful. The X-ray was useful. The ER note was useful. The paramedic report was useful. My mother's lie was useful. The garage camera was very useful. Mrs. Palmer's 911 call was useful, because in the background, before the dispatcher told her to stay on the line, you could hear my voice yelling, "He hit me." 2 days after the assault, Officer Mills called. "We obtained the garage camera file," he said. I gripped the hospital phone so tightly my fingers hurt. "Does it show anything?" "Video is partial, audio is clear." I closed my eyes. "How clear?" He paused, and I could hear papers moving on his desk. "Clear enough." Clear enough became the first sentence I slept on without waking every hour. The recording did not show the rod hitting my knee. The angle was wrong. The side door had been open, and the camera captured the edge of the garage, boxes, the bottom half of my mother's legs, and Ryan's boots moving in and out of frame. But audio does not need a full face to tell the truth. Ryan's voice, "You should have kept your mouth shut." My voice, "Show me the divorce decree." The sound of impact, my scream, Mom's laugh. Then her voice, "Maybe now you'll learn to stop ruining your brother's life." Then, later, "Tell them you slipped." When Nina played that file for me in the hospital, I did not cry. I had cried when the doctor told me I might need surgery. I had cried when I realized I could not get to the bathroom without help. I had cried when my mother texted, "I hope you're proud of what you've done to this family." But when I heard her laugh on the recording, I felt something colder than grief, relief. Because it meant the sound was not only in my memory, it existed outside me. It could not be called dramatic. It could not be told to calm down. It had a timestamp. Marisol called me the following evening. Her voice was soft and tired, with the careful steadiness of someone who had told a story too many times and been believed too few. She said she met Ryan in Texas when he was doing storm repair work after a hail season. He was charming. He was lonely. He said his family misunderstood him. He said Missouri was complicated. He said he wanted a fresh start. They married at the courthouse after 4 months. 3 months after that, he left for a job and never really came back. At first, he sent money. Then excuses. Then silence. When she pushed for divorce, he said he was too busy and she was being greedy. When she hired someone to help, he disappeared from addresses. She did not have the money to chase him across states. "I saw Brielle's engagement photos online," she said. "I thought maybe the divorce went through and nobody told me. That sounds stupid, doesn't it?" "No," I said. "It sounds like Ryan." She went quiet. Then she said, "Did he really hurt you?" "Yes." "Because of me?" "Because of him." That distinction mattered. Marisol sent Nina copies of the marriage certificate, messages from Ryan acknowledging they were married, old bank documents, and a voice memo where he told her, "If you mess up my future, I'll bury you in legal bills." Ryan had not buried anyone in legal bills because Ryan had never been as powerful as he performed. He had simply learned to pick women he thought he could exhaust. Brielle was harder. Her family had money. Her father had attorneys. And when the truth reached them, the engagement party stopped being a celebration and became a conference. I was not supposed to attend. My orthopedic surgeon had scheduled surgery for the following Monday. I was in a brace, on crutches, and still learning how to move without making the whole room tilt. But Brielle called me herself. "I don't want you to come if it hurts you," she said. Her voice was steady, but I could hear betrayal beneath it. "But my parents are meeting Ryan and your mother at our attorney's office tomorrow. Marisol will be on video. Detective Mills may come. I thought you should know." I looked at the walker beside my bed. "Is Ryan going to be there?" "Yes." "Then I'll come." Nina did not like it. "You do not owe anyone your body in a room that failed to protect it," she said. "I know." "Then why?" I looked down at the brace that ran from mid-thigh to calf, at the Velcro straps and swelling and purple bruising blooming around the joint. "Because my mother keeps saying I fell. I want her to say it while looking at me." The Carter family attorney's office had polished wood floors and art on the walls that probably cost more than my car. Brielle sat between her parents, pale but composed. Her engagement ring was not on her finger. Marisol appeared on a large screen at the end of the conference table from her kitchen in Texas. Ryan came in late. He looked at my brace first, then at my face, then away. Mom came behind him wearing a cream cardigan and the expression of a woman attending a funeral she believed should have been canceled for her convenience. "Grace," she said tightly, "you shouldn't be here." I adjusted my crutch. "I agree." Brielle's father, Mr. Carter, did not waste time. "We are here to determine whether Ryan Holloway is legally free to marry my daughter, whether he misrepresented his status to secure a business investment, and whether there is an active criminal investigation related to what happened to his sister." Ryan leaned back in his chair. "This is insane." Marisol's face on the screen did not change. Brielle looked at him. "Are you married?" "It's complicated." "Mr. Carter said, "No, it's documented. Complicated comes later." The attorney placed the marriage certificate on the table. Then the certified no divorce search. Then Marisol's statement. Then Ryan's messages. The room got quieter with each page. Mom tried to speak. "Ryan made a mistake years ago. Grace blew it out of proportion because she has always been jealous of him." Nina, sitting beside me, opened her folder. "Mrs. Holloway, did Grace also exaggerate the injury?" Mom's mouth tightened. "She fell." There it was, the sentence I had come to hear. Nina looked at me once, not for permission exactly, but for readiness. I nodded. She played the audio. Ryan's voice filled the conference room. "You should have kept your mouth shut." My voice. "Show me the divorce decree." The impact. My scream, then my mother's laugh. No one moved. I watched Brielle's mother put one hand over her mouth. I watched Ryan stare at the table as if the wood grain had become fascinating. I watched my mother close her eyes. Then her own voice came through the speaker. "Maybe now you'll learn to stop ruining your brother's life." The recording continued. "Tell them you slipped." When Nina stopped it, the silence felt almost physical. Mom whispered, "You recorded your own family?" I laughed once then. It surprised me as much as it surprised her. "No, Mom, you did. You bought the camera." Mr. Carter stood up slowly. "The investment is withdrawn. The engagement is over. Any further contact with my daughter will go through counsel." Ryan turned to Brielle. "You're seriously going to believe them?" She looked at him like he had become a stranger while sitting in front of her. "You are married," she said. "You hurt your sister, and your mother laughed. What exactly is left to believe?" That was the moment Ryan understood consequence, not regret. I won't give him that much. Consequence. Some people only recognize harm when it finally costs them something. The criminal case did not resolve quickly. Cases rarely move at the pace pain demands. Ryan was charged. His attorney tried to argue family dispute, accident, emotional escalation. The audio made that harder. The medical records made the fall story harder. The text threats made the motive harder. Mom's false statement became part of the file. She was not arrested that day. Life does not always deliver consequences in neat, dramatic packages. But her credibility cracked in a way she could not glue back together with tears. Marisol filed for divorce in Texas, with representation paid through a legal aid program Brielle's mother quietly helped connect her to. I did not ask for details. Marisol had her own life to reclaim, and she did not owe me friendship just because Ryan had hurt us both. Brielle sent flowers after my surgery. The card said, "Thank you for telling me before I became another document in his file." I kept that card longer than I kept most things. My surgery was successful, which is a clean sentence for something that felt anything but clean. There were screws. There was swelling. There were exercises that made me sweat through my shirt while moving my leg 1 inch. There were nights I hated everyone who could walk to the kitchen without planning the route. There were practical humiliations nobody puts in revenge stories. Shower chairs, ice packs, insurance calls. Physical therapy appointments where a woman named Carmen told me gently but firmly that fear would stiffen the joint faster than scar tissue if I let it. For a while, I measured victory in degrees of bend. 35, 42, 60. The first time I made it down 3 steps without crying, I called Dana from work and we celebrated like I had won an Olympic medal. Mom called for weeks, at first angry, then tearful, then religious. "Ryan could lose everything," she said in one voicemail. I listened to it once. Then I saved it for Nina and did not listen again. My final message to my mother was short. "I hope one day you understand the difference between loving your son and protecting him from the truth. Do not contact me again unless it is through counsel." She replied with a paragraph about disrespect. I blocked her. People ask in different ways whether that hurt. Of course it hurt. No contact is not a magic door you close and suddenly stop wanting a mother. It is more like setting down a hot pan after years of telling yourself the burn was love. Your hands still hurt. You just stop picking it back up. I moved 2 months later into a small ground floor apartment with wide doorways, ugly beige carpet, and a kitchen window that caught morning light. It was not beautiful. It was accessible. At that point, accessible felt like luxury. Dana helped me unpack. Carmen from physical therapy sent me a list of safe rugs that would not catch on my brace. Mrs. Palmer from next door dropped off soup and said, "I should have called sooner that night. I heard yelling before the scream." I told her, "You called when it mattered." And I meant it. My first day back at the hospital, I walked slowly through the employee entrance with a cane in my right hand and a brace under my slacks. The security guard, Marcus, pretended not to notice me tearing up by asking if I had finally come back to fix all the filing mistakes people made while I was gone. "Probably," I said. My desk was exactly where I had left it. 2 monitors, a chipped mug, a sticky note Dana had written that said, "Charts fear you." I laughed so hard my knee hurt. Later that afternoon, I opened a new folder in my personal drive. Not hospital records, a mine. I placed the X-ray report there, the discharge summary, the police report number, the protection order, the certified marriage certificate, the audio transcript. Then I placed one photo in a separate folder. It was not the injury. It was my cane leaning against my new kitchen counter beside a bowl of soup Mrs. Palmer had made. That was the picture I wanted to remember. Not the garage floor, not the metal rod, not my mother's laugh, the counter, the cane, the soup, the quiet proof that I had a place to stand, even if standing took more effort than it used to. Ryan thought pain would teach me silence. My mother laughed because she thought no one would ever believe me over him. They were both wrong. Pain taught me documentation. Documentation gave me distance. Distance gave me room to heal. And healing, I learned, is not the moment your family finally admits what they did. Sometimes they never do. Sometimes healing is walking slowly into a life where their version of you no longer gets the final word. So if someone you love ever tries to turn your injury into a misunderstanding, your fear into drama, or your truth into a family inconvenience, remember this. You do not have to scream louder than their lie. You only have to preserve the record long enough for the lie to run out of room.